Hello, everyone. We are live on LinkedIn. We are going to wait a few seconds for everyone to come in. Hello, Natacha. How are you?
Hi, Sophie. I am doing good. I am being told very directly that somebody wants snuggle. So if I suddenly, you have a ginger cat talking with a French accent during this session, it's still me. I promise.
Yeah, it's your trademark now. Each time I'm on a call with you, I see a cat, a tabby, a black one, little tails going. All right. Well, I'm so glad to be doing this session with you today. We are going to keep it to 20 minutes because we know that everybody is very busy. And we are going to open the end for Q&As if we get questions. So I'm going to dive right into the subject. And today we are talking about how to use content marketing to promote your online courses. So this is something big for me because you know that I'm an online course expert. I help clients build their courses, but also sell them, because building an online course, it's only half of the job. After, you have to sell the thing, right? Because you don't want it to stay on the virtual shelf, gathering dust. So how do you sell an online course? So that's a very important part. You have to think about this, and you have two ways available to you. You have either the paid option, running Facebook ads, for example, and the organic option. So today, Natacha is coming in today to tell us about both options and what she recommends for content marketing. So first question for you. I had written my question, Natacha. For those who are new to online marketing, can you quickly explain what is actually content marketing? What does it mean? And what is the difference between paid and organic?
Sure thing. And I'm super happy to be here with you to talk about all of that today, Sophie, because I also very much learned from you. Indeed, you need to market and sell the courses. It's not just designing them. So content marketing, basically, it's a type of marketing approach that is focused on creating and distributing consistent and valuable and relevant content to your audience. So you may be able to not only attract new people, but also make your current audience willing to engage with your offer. So the idea is really to driving customer action, which then result in trust, and based on the trust you build, and then lead to sales, because that's the whole thing. It's like, we are here to serve, but if we have a product like an online course, we do want to make the sale. Otherwise, we are not really able to have this transformative impact on other people.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of thinking like, oh, there's my content and then there's marketing, we really integrate both of these practices, because content, whether it is blogs or podcasts or social media, it's usually a part of what you do for communicating about your business. And if you're in the launch period, like pre-launch or post-launch, for an evergreen course, you want to make sure that some of your content is directly with a marketing, like really a marketing campaign approach, a marketing goal that is to sell more course in this situation.
Okay.
As for the difference between organic versus paid, content marketing often is more like the organic side, while the paid marketing is basically more advertising for the most part. So I would say that the way I'm going to be talking about content marketing today is going to be of the organic kind, where you are going to be creating and sharing content on your own channel, or channel that you usually run. Because I want to make the distinction: if you post something on your website or through your mailing list, or create a workshop on Zoom, it's a platform that you either own or have earned access to. And then you also have social media, where you have built a visibility, but we all know we don't own social media and stuff can happen. But regardless, it channels where you already are, rather than paid content, paid advertising, where you would be like making sure paying to have your product feature, like as obviously as an ad, whether it's going to be an ad on social media, an ad online, or even in more traditional media, like even let's dream like TV, or even print media or radio.
Mm-hmm. So what I hear is that I'm going to try to summarize what you said. We have the paid and the organic is free, right? And for me, in my head, paid, so you are trying to reach like a wide audience of people who probably don't know you, right? Instead of in organic, for me, organic, it's all built on trust, on building relationships with people. And it starts with delivering value and then establishing your authority and creating this liking, this similarity. So it takes time. It's a time investment. It's free. And then I'm wondering, I'm putting myself in the shoes of the people who might be watching us. So what are you supposed to share and talk about when you want to promote something?
Which is a really good question, because it can be easy to go, from the, I have my regular content, with content pillars, the 3 to 5 main topics to talk about, and then suddenly be like, I have this new product I'm launching, this new course, and how am I going to integrate it? Well, the first thing is that typically, your content pillars are aligned with your offers. So your online course is probably going to be within the, your main mission, the type of services you generally provide. So topics your audience is going to be familiar with if they follow you. And I do agree that building trust and relationship with the free/organic content may be a better way to go. I am not against paid advertising right now, but I also know that it's going to depend on your budget, on your current audience, and it's often easier, at least in my experience, if you're a bigger name. Like if you're a bigger name, you have the budget, you can just throw a little more spaghettis against the wall, even if it's more of a targeted ad. While the content marketing really helps you continue to build on what you're already doing. So for example, if your course is really relating to one or two of your content pillar, you can be like, when I'm creating content for these specific pillars, I can just be talking about the course. And this is where I'm coming in with, like the 3 ways. And the primary way I would recommend, use content marketing is the first thing I'm going to say is live video, which, as some people pointed out, this is very meta because we're doing a live event to talk about the importance of live event.
I have 2 questions for you on this, because I know, of course, that you really favor live events and video content, and it's your specialty, actually, video content. So why do you think that live event and video content is converting so well with the public? Well, I'm going to let you answer that one.
Okay, yeah, it's multiple reason, which is kind of interesting. The live event is and especially video and live allows you to have direct and real-time engagement with your audience. So sometimes it may be cricket, sometimes it may be a lot of people. It's always kind of difficult to know. And so I think the live element is really important, no matter the type of courses you sell, whether it's completely asynchronous or delivered in real time or hybrid. I remember I was there, I learned stuff. But the live has this element of people maybe also getting curious because it may pop up on their feeds, or because if you're connected with somebody. So it kind of had this little spur of the moment thing, because many people like video and consume a lot of video, and like the live as well, this live component, I'm curious to see, who they are, and video generally, including live, can give people a taste of how you are as an instructor, because most video do have a video component, even if there's a lot of other support. And another thing is that if you're going to do a live, even a 20 minutes live, it's considered long form video. Basically anything above a minute at this point. But it's going to be one of your easiest type of content to repurpose as well, and simplify your old content marketing.
So that you just mentioned a word that I want to come back to, but I wanted to say in your answer, why do you think that live events are so important and such good converters? And I agree with you. For me, it's giving me a taste of the person. Like, do we vibe? Are we connecting? Do I love their style? So you can't really convey everything through a written post. So that is why I really love and recognize and have experienced the power of live events to convert and drive sales, online course sales. So my second question for you is, because it's a lot of work, how can we repurpose this?
Well, that's the good news. I'm all for saving time and also saving quality, especially if you delivered a good live. There were some good nuggets in it. Why not capitalize on it? And a live event, you can, the first, like, still piggybacking on the video thing, you can repurpose a live video event into like shorter video, like under 60 seconds. There are even AI tools now you can use if you are like, I don't want to deal with all of that, because turning horizontal into vertical can be a pain in the butt, even when you know how to video edit. So like, for example, I use Vidayo. I know I've mentioned it before, and I've used that to repurpose even my live, generally speaking, but you can do that for, a webinar or live that you're going to use to promote your online course. So maybe you're going to, let's say, even if you get 3 or 5, useful shorter video, you can use this shorter video on social media, whether it's YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, even on LinkedIn if you want, or even in your emails, because we often think about email like, oh, it's written. Oh, you can put video in there too. Nobody's stopping you.
Right. Yeah.
And still in the repurposing, you can also turn, like, especially if you get a transcript, it's even easier, even if you remember what you did, especially, for a 20 minutes kind of deal. What was the best part? What were your key points? Then boom, you can make social media posts from that, and you can expand on something in an email, because I like when repurposing, it's like if you have a live, you can do the social media post based on it, based on, either your biggest takeaway or maybe the questions you had during it, where you were like, oh, those are questions that if somebody asked it to me about my course, the topic of my course, probably other people are going to have it. So that's kind of a non-expecting cue, FAQ that you can be using in your social media post. And then what you share publicly, then you may be like, oh, I could expand on that specific topic just with my mailing list. So this way, people get the different value, whether they just follow you on social media, whether they're, in your closer community through your mailing list.
So here I wanted to, it occurred to me that people might not understand. So what kind of live events? So when do you hold them? And is it like a webinar that you are talking about? Is it a LinkedIn Live? Is it a launch party? What kind of event are we talking about?
We're talking about, I would say you have 2 main options. And also, apparently, I have a note, and I'm not sure we went live on LinkedIn. So this is amazing news. Not. Because I had somebody ask me about tech issues. So we'll see. Let's keep going. We're still on YouTube. Worst case scenario, we'll just share the YouTube replay with everybody and hope it goes.
Oh my God.
Technology. So yeah. It's
you want
learning
me to
curve.
ask the question again, because you have been a little bit derailed with watching that. So I was asking you, so we are talking about live events, but what kind of live event? Could it be like a webinar that you hold before launching your course, a webinar in which you talk about your upcoming course, or in which you bring awareness to the problem and then you pitch your solution inside?
So I have 2 things to say to that, because it sounds like a 2-pronged questions. And the first one of where you host the webinar, I would say, or the webinar, the live event. There are two main options. I would say you can either, host it on the social media platform of your preference. Maybe it's YouTube or Facebook or Instagram or LinkedIn, possibly multiple if you use a third-party streamer. And your other option, if you prefer to, hold it outside of social media, you could also host it on Zoom, for example. So that's your 2 main options. There's probably also, as far as I know, ways to have everything together, but it's not an obligation. You may want to prioritize, the social media platform you have a stronger following, or you may want to take it outside through Zoom, or
right.
You have these 2 options. As to what to talk about in that webinar, live event, however you want to phrase it, because I know now sometimes people are just like, oh, webinar, this is so corporate, and whatever works for you. Like, that live event.
A training.
The training, the preview, all the good stuff. You have 2 main options for what type of content to have in it. It could either be a really high level overview of what is going to be within your course. So it's really to give people like an idea of what we're going to cover. And then there's the other version that is personally my favorite, which is really use like a peek, like a little bit from your very first module, maybe just your first lesson in it, because then you can give people a quick real win and really give them a test of how you may be teaching.
Oh, that's a very good idea. Okay. All right. So don't hesitate to lift the veil a little bit about what's inside your course. Not everything, of course, but you create an event around this. And so you create some buzz, you promote your course, call to action. And then after, what do you do with this video?
Oh, the options. And right before I get into what you do with the video, I just also want to piggyback on something you mentioned of, when to host them. And I think that you don't want it to be too early when then people forget about your upcoming course. But at the same time, you do want to create some buzz, before the very last minute before your course. So it could be like, I would even say, I'm planning like a couple, and I know that's what you did for the boot camp, I think, which was having 2 webinars or live events. So, maybe start building up one like 5 weeks before and then another one around the 2 weeks mark before, because you get to start building awareness. And especially if you're like doing like an early bird pricing or something, which people may choose to do, you don't want to just do that the last two weeks. If you do that like 5 weeks ahead, it can be like, hey, for the next 2 weeks, there's still the early bird pricing, and be able to draw people in this way. And what to do with the video? You were going to ask a question.
Well, actually, because oh my gosh, each time you say something, then it's creating a new idea for me. I like what you said, and I would like to put the emphasis on this: is that you don't want to hold for what we are talking about. For example, I love to do webinars, right? Workshops, webinars, because I love to teach something to people. So it's not just like a huge promo pitch, but we don't hold those live events and those webinars and training just for the sake of it. There is a goal, right? The end goal is to convert those people who came to your live event into customers for your online course or your coaching program or your digital product. So in my opinion, the goal of these events is actually after, in the follow-up. You want to keep nurturing the people who came on board through an email sequence. You want to be reaching out to these people. You want to engage in conversation. So it takes time. So if you have your last event too close to your launch time, you're not going to have the time to talk to people, to reach out to them and have those valuable conversations. So I like to leave at least 10 days between my last live event and the launch time. Like the doors are open by now.
I agree, because you don't want it to do it at the very last minute. It may be one thing. Maybe you're going to have like a very tiny, live as a bonus live or something, if you decide to do it right before, but it should not be like the key points of your strategy. It's like, if you want to do that, consider it a bonus, not the meat of your content marketing, I would say. And to go back to how you can repurpose it, because I agree with you, you need to nurture it. It's not just, hey, here was my webinar, I'm out, okay, please buy my course. That's not going to be very helpful. You may get 1 or 2 people because they already knew you, but it's not gonna be really effective. And first of all, like the most classic, I would say, for the live event is make sure the replay is available, and post about it on social media, share it with your email list, really make sure that you make it as accessible as possible, which is also why I do preach, that everybody has a YouTube channel where they can store and build a content library of their live events and not just pre-recorded video. Because, see, today, apparently we didn't go live on LinkedIn, but at least people will still be able to have the replay on YouTube. And if you had a webinar, people may not want to scroll down all the way, through all their LinkedIn events or through all of their Facebook feed or, all the social media stuff. While YouTube, is still technically social media, but there's this, it's a search engine as well. So you may be, and it has more longevity. So it's like going to a YouTube channel. It's just like, okay, boom, I found it, on the channel. I don't have to scroll through hundreds or more posts. So make sure the replay is as accessible as possible. And then, because one thing you always want to have in content marketing, which is part of also, I'm sure when you talk about, sales page and all, is you want to point out the transformation more than the features, more than the nuts and bolts. If people want to know about the nuts and bolts, it's probably going to be somewhere, lower in your sales page. But if you're really like pitching, creating content about why it's valuable, then focus on that, of the why it's valuable. What is it going to help you solve? How is it going to help you achieve your goal? So that's something to really keep in mind, both in how you make the webinar and also how you're going to repurpose it and nurture it. And I like what you said about nurturing, because seeking feedback as well, whether, on social media or through your mailing list, being like, hey, whether you've attended live or seen the replay, what were your key takeaways and what question do you still have? Because that still encourages the conversation, instead of just being like, poof, here's the replay, deal with it. It's also on you to continue nurturing the conversation.
Absolutely. All right. So I'm just going to point that we said we would last 20 minutes. We are past the 20 minutes. Would you like to add more to the repurposing process, or you feel like we gave enough for today, enough information?
I think I'm just going to do a very quick recap of the repurposing so people can get back to it. So the repurposing so I'm going to say the replay in itself, shorter videos that you can create, that you can post across social media, key takeaways, either in the form, of social media written posts or social media infographics also, or even a carousel, depending on, what is your preferred way of communicating. And also go into extra details, not necessarily pulling the veil more, but, whether it's a behind the scene or it's an extra going into more depth on a question that may have come up with your mailing list. So you have that little bit of extra value just for your mailing list.
Okay, well, thank you for this recap.
You're welcome.
All right. So I feel like I don't want to keep our audience too long. If you have questions, you can always put them in the comments. We'll come back and revisit the video to answer your comments. And I thank you for coming today or watching the replay.
The beauty of the replay right there. Thank you so much, Sophie.
Thank you. Bye.